Morning. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're a dedicated gardener who loves a pristine lawn, then you better look away now. The dandelion. It spoils a lawn. Its seeds go everywhere. You hate it in your lawn, you hate it in the verge. On the other hand, don't you secretly like to pick up the dandelion clock and blow the seeds away? I still do. At the recent Olympics opening ceremony, the life cycle of the dandelion was highlighted. A child blows on the dandelion seed head and light sticks paraded by dancers unfolded to create dandelions before fireworks exploded above to represent the seeds of the flower spreading across the earth, in this instance representing the coming of spring. I wanted to share the image of this because I thought it was really helpful. There we are. So there's the child on the left blowing the seeds. You can see, if you look closely, the images of the dancers there, which I think is quite amazing, really. And this is a close-up of the dancers with the light sabers. Sabers? Well, you know what I mean. I've got a thing about dandelion, as you might imagine, and a few years ago at Wisley, they had some amazing statues on the top of the hill there, and particularly in the right-hand image, you can see the seeds as they leave the rest of the clock, and on the left you can see one where half the seeds have gone. So about over a decade ago, I went on a Worship Academy course and was stretched so much in learning about worship in all its forms. And at the very end of the course, one of the academy had an image of a dandelion clock as its seeds were blown away, not knowing where they would land. And since the members on the course came from different backgrounds, different churches, and even different countries, who knew where the seeds might be sown following our time together? And I was prompted to paint a picture. So there's my picture of the dandelion and its seeds. So very recently, in our sermon series on disciples, the letter E was about evangelism, sowing the seeds that were planted in us as we share the good news of Jesus. We had challenging questions to face. And the first one was, how does the word evangelism make you feel? Well, for me, it's definitely challenging. Trying to rely on God, the right words to say and the right occasion, and knowing that my circle of non-Christian friends is small. The second question, how might your life be a witness to the good message? And I guess this is about the fruit of the Spirit in our lives. And you'll probably be expecting me to say love, joy, peace, and reel the list off. But I wanted to use the Message version of this passage, which says, but what happens when we live God's way? He brings gifts into our lives, much the same way that fruit appears in an orchard. Things like affection for others, exuberance about life, serenity. We develop a willingness to stick with things, a sense of compassion in the heart, and a conviction that a basic holiness permeates things and people. And I hope perhaps the freshness of those words help us to understand how these fruits might be displayed in our lives. Then the third question was, what might holistic evangelism look like at Worcester Park Baptist Church? And I guess this is what we've been trying to visualize in being a beacon of light in our community. In my heart, I believe once we are back in the church premises, our outlook will change. Hopefully God will change us, equip us, open us up to a new vision of his work in Worcester Park. Exciting times, maybe tinged with a little bit of apprehension. And the seeds sown at our recent Alpha course, and indeed on all Alpha courses throughout the world, are potentially far-reaching. I have heard on many occasions, and no doubt you have, testimonies, particularly at baptisms, where the words and lives shared during Sunday school days or at Holiday Bible Club have impacted a young life for God. Those involved in the teaching often aren't aware of the impact of their service and how God has used them in the sowing of seeds. And what does the Bible say on all of this? Well, I've chosen a couple of verses, one from Psalm 96. Sing to the Lord, praise his name, proclaim his salvation day after day. Declare his glory among the nations, his marvelous deeds among all peoples. And I guess the key words here are proclaim and declare. And then from 1 Peter 3, in your hearts revere Christ as Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you, to give the reason for the hope that you have. But do this with gentleness and respect. But the key words for me here are be prepared and give the reason. And perhaps a well-known verse about being compelled to preach the gospel from 1 Corinthians 9. For when I preach the gospel, I cannot boast, since I am compelled to preach. Woe to me if I do not preach the gospel. And the Message version of these words and the following ones, and the following verses, gives an added slant. If I proclaim the message, it's not to get something out of it for myself. I'm compelled to do it, and doomed if I don't. If this was my idea of just another way to make a living, I'd expect some pay. But since it's not my idea, but something solemnly entrusted to me, why would I expect to get paid? So am I getting anything out of it? Yes, as a matter of fact, the pleasure of proclaiming the message at no cost to you. Kat's song, Church Arise, presents an incredible challenge and puts in stark words how we as individuals and also as part of the church need to go to the hurting, tend to the broken, go feed the hungry, welcome the lonely, go show the Lord's peace, cry out for justice. O church, arise in the name of Jesus. So I hope that we will be able to do that as a church, to arise and go in the name of Jesus. So I want to thank you for listening today, and know that your words have impact for good, for God. And I'm going to close with Kat's song, Church Arise. Thank you.
When there are just no words to say, as the pain takes our breath away, help us know you are here. When the road we are traveling on feels so hard and the journey's long, help us know you are here. Let us show the world you are here. Oh, church, arise feed the hungry, welcome the lonely. Oh, church, arise. Go show the Lord's peace, cry out for justice. Oh, church, arise. In the name of Jesus. When the world is a fearful place and all rays of hope seem erased, help us know. Help us know you are here. When it seems like no choice is right and we long to give up the fight, help us know. Help us know you are here. Let us show the world you are here. Oh, church, arise. Go to the hurting, tend to the broken. Oh, church, arise. Go feed the hungry, welcome the lonely. Oh, church, arise. Go show the Lord's peace, cry out for justice. Oh, church, arise. In the name of Jesus. To see through the eyes of Jesus, to walk in his ways of grace, to have a heart for the broken.